It's August 25th, 2024, and I'm with Mr. John J. Jeckovich. Studio C, this is the second segment today, docu-series 313, and we're picking up from Mr. John Jeckovich's book. He returned from the hospital in Paris from his wounds. He recovered nicely, you might say, as long as his index finger worked and he could press the trigger on the machine gun, and as long as he could walk, they considered him fit for duty.
Right.
Is that what they said?
That's it.
Fit for duty.
Fit for duty.
Yeah. So I'm going to continue reading Mr. Jeckovich's book, and we're on page 451. About 20 minutes later, the other man for guard duty showed up. He was from G Company. When I first saw him, I knew he was a sloucher and a gold brick. He gave me some lame-brained excuse that he could not get up or that he needed an extra 20 minutes sleep. I did not say anything except to acknowledge his presence, then looked out to the front into the darkness. A short time later, there was a blinking of a flashlight in our front. I knew what it was, but a latecomer of G Company wanted to open fire in its direction. So you're on guard duty and you're seeing a flash in front of you, and an inexperienced American GI wants to shoot at it, but you know it's probably another.
It might be another one of ours.
Yeah, yeah. But a latecomer from the G Company wanted to open fire in its direction. It was a patrol returning. As they got closer, I halted them and asked for the password. Password is top dog. Was a relay, and I answered all out. It was a 6-man patrol led by a buck sergeant of G Company, and they stopped at the bunker a minute and stated that there were no Germans within 25 miles of our position. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because most of the Germans were within a mile or two.
Yeah.
Wherever you were, they were there. In fact, some of the towns that you would take over and clear, you come back a day later, the Germans are back in.
Oh, yeah.
They're like rats. They keep coming back. They're like rats. They keep coming back. That was gratifying to know, and I wondered what was in store for us in the morning. The soldier in the bunker with me slept most of the time on a guard door, but I did not object at all. I did not feel like talking to him anyways. At 500 hours, I awoke him and told him to get our reliefs and to be sure they were awake before he left them. I knew that he would not return, and I did not want to get stuck out here for a double tour. So the sloucher you sent to get back in the barracks and get a couple more to relieve you, but you have an idea that the guy would never just come back.
And then we come back with AWOL, yeah.
Yeah. When he left, I suddenly thought about Renee and whether she had left for the convent or what she was doing. I still missed her greatly, but the emptiness inside me was gradually being replaced by the realization that we could never be together. I only wish that she was happy and content in her life, and that she had found the fulfillment she was seeking in the cloistered setting. As the emptiness and desolation gradually receded within me, my thoughts kept returning to my bleak future. What did you mean by your bleak future?
Bleak, go back home.
And what would be that?
Routine.
What do you mean? Tell us.
Routine. You have, my mother said, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to paint this, take me here, you got to go shopping, this is broken, fix that, go out and shovel the snow. So
I bet your mother was happy to see you home.
What?
I bet your mother was happy to see you home.
Oh, yeah. Well, she was all alone.
Wasn't she with her daughter?
But Sally was still young. She was about 12, 13 years old.
As the emptiness and desolation gradually receded within me, my thoughts kept returning to my bleak future. Now I was thinking differently. Before I was getting through the war first, and then thinking about the after. I could see the war winding down here, and my big question now was, what after? I had nothing going for me. My life with Renee was never to be, and I could not see any life with Jean or Ann. How come you didn't want to see any life with Jean or Ann?
Well, I had PL-16. I could have gone to college. 3.
So let me ask you that. You, under the GI Bill, you could have gone to college
Yeah.
for
Four-year college, yeah.
for many years.
Yeah.
Why didn't you?
Well, if I left, my mother would be alone.
Same thing.
Yeah, so I gave that up. I gave that good up.
So you gave
I
up.
was going to go to Bodine College, level R
You
college.
gave up your GI Bill.
Yeah. I signed up for the Bodine College and liberal arts college. Never went. 4-year college. Free.
Totally. You can still do it today, right?
Huh?
You could probably still do it.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
too
but
old.
still.
I'm too old for that now.
Yeah, but still, not really. You're knocking the door of 100, but I can guarantee you, at 105, you'll still be looking the same. Look how nice you look right now. You got a brand new sweatshirt on, new pants. And what color is that sweatshirt, by the way?
It's an OD.
So, OD, what does that stand
Olive
for?
drab.
For us civilians, that's olive drab. That's what you wore during the war, right?
Yeah.
I see you got a new haircut, you got your nails done, you got facials.
Looking dapper.
You're looking dapper.
Huh?
You're looking very nice.
Looking dapper.
Dapper. You don't look like 100 years old. You don't look like 100 years old. Okay, you really don't. No. God bless you. For this time, it hit me squarely. I'll be returning to my old life I had left when I entered the Army. The thought of it sent a shiver throughout my body. The full harshness of my situation hit me head on. I had nothing to go back to. I had given up everything I had the past year. Why did I do that? Just then my relief came and filled him in on the situation and left for the farmhouse to get a few hours sleep. I was too upset to sleep, thinking about my missed opportunities and my dismal future. The next morning, we were ordered to attack the towns of Freudland and Kirkland. After the air of the artillery bombardment, we moved in almost unopposed. So when you got to those two towns the next morning, there wasn't much of a fight.
No, they were worked over. They were worked over.
Did you take on prisoners?
No, I'm tell you about that.
They were all gone.
Oh, they're all scattered, yeah.
Was there civilians in those towns?
Well, we didn't bother with the civilians.
Did the civilians bother with you?
No, they're afraid of us.
Were the civilians armed?
Huh?
Were the civilians armed?
They probably had weapons, yeah, but they wouldn't show us. Probably stuck it underneath the bed or something.
It was an interesting point during the Battle of Bulge. Many German paratroopers came in that spoke perfect English in American GI uniforms. Did you run across many?
Right, I did, but they would give it up right away.
Why is that?
Second sentence, they said they could hold that accent. They lost the accent.
Okay, so I understand. They had the first couple of sentences down, and then when you start talking about the Yankees or the
Yeah,
Cubs,
they didn't know what was going on with the
so they didn't know
football
jack
game,
shit
baseball
about
game
the
at home or
country.
nothing.
So what happened then once you picked it up? The next sentence, what happened to these?
Well, we took them as prisoners of war.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Did you leave them in American GI uniforms?
No.
Well, that's how they came to you.
You're not going to put them in a PW camp with a GI uniform on.
So how did you get them a German uniform if?
Well, the Red Cross has equipment that people have died every day. Soldiers it saves those clothes, and when they need them, they give them out.
Was the Red Cross primarily equipped with female volunteers for the United States?
Volunteers? Yeah, some girls went up there, yeah.
And they're mostly all
Most of them were nurses, though.
all females.
Yeah.
All females. So they did a hell of a job.
Huh?
They did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Hell of a job.
Well, males would do it because they were drafted right away.
Yeah.
33.
Was there many bombardments on Red Cross facilities?
The what?
Was there many bombardments on Red Cross facilities?
Well, wasn't a popular town of that, but No, it usually had to depend on the army to feed you.
And that was definitely against the Geneva Convention.
Right.
To shoot on a Red Cross Jeep, Red Cross truck, Red Cross.
I never seen a Red Cross truck. I never seen a Red Cross Jeep.
So how do these ladies transport?
Huh?
How these ladies get around?
How those ladies get around?
If they worked at the Red Cross?
They were controlled by the army. The army told them where to go.
6x6s?
They would go by jeeps. They would be usually accompanied by somebody. They didn't know where the hell they were going.
Did they carry a weapon?
The Red Cross?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Couldn't carry a stupid weapon, no.
Okay. After an artillery bombardment, we moved almost unopposed. An hour later, we were counterattacked by 2 infantry companies moving from Dortmund along the railroad. We quickly set up the sections of heavy guns aided by 81 millimeter mortars. Several artillery battalions and airstrike carried through by the squadron already in the air diverted from another mission. The air squadron, guided by colored smoke laid down by the artillery, strapped the enemy troops and gun positions with excellent results. Division artillery and the airstrike discouraged any enemy buildup in the woods east of Bromborough, the next closest town. By nightfall, the enemy was harassing our whole front with the artillery, self-propelled guns, and mortar fires. So the Germans are still harassing you at night.
Yeah.
What's a self-propelled gun?
Self-propelled. They aim it and they shoot it off.
Is that like an M1?
No, it's almost like a cannon.
Okay. Nevertheless, it was a day of outstanding tactical success, resulting in the capture of a main railroad line in Dortmund West and several important highways, as well as the towns of Lutzen, Dortmund, Westridge, and several other small villages. So even though you're making great strides, taking over all these towns, the Germans are still harassing you at night by throwing some bombs in.
Yeah, they could put a set of patrol over it, yeah.
I was still using G Company's replacements, and while they were satisfactory, I wanted people of my own again. On 8th of April, having cleared the final remnants of the enemy resistance at Castra Rochelle, we were ordered into the rest area north of Castra Rochelle, and it was here that the division received some much-needed replacements. Where'd all these replacements come from?
Recruits coming in.
These are all green teenagers? These are all green soldiers?
Oh yeah, they were drafted, yeah.
Was there a lot of AWOL amongst the green?
No.
They were all fresh out of the replacement depot, full of the same doubts and fears we all had when we first got there. In a way, it was good that these replacements came because the war was really winding down now.
They thought.
Yeah, it's really winding down. There were many in the group replacements, but I'll only dwell on 4 I had the most contact with. Pastore was a production worker in the brewery of Utica Club in Utica, New York. Utica Club, that's still a beer today.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole town.
Yeah.
That's what the whole town of Utica.
They had a football team named that too.
Yeah. Who had been out of high school only a short time. He worked in a brewery for a month or so, and then he was drafted. So I understand he was just got out of high school. He went to work at Utica Club Brewery in Utica, New York, and then they got his draft a month later, and he's gone.
Yeah.
He had a steady girlfriend and was definitely getting married when he got out. I admired his sense of direction and his definite goals. Mollenhauer was quiet, red-haired farm boy from Iowa, married with 2 children, a boy and a girl. I didn't think the Army would take you if you had children.
Oh yeah, he was draftable age. He was 18, 19, 20 years old.
He did not resent being drafted with 2 children, but wanted desperately to return to Iowa safely. He was the oldest of the replacements at the age of 26, was considered a grandfather by most standards here. So if someone's 26, that's the grandfather.
That Dodger?
No, 26. If you're 26 years old, You considered him a grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was no good. He's too old.
You remember Maxie, an ex-student, ex-boxer, ex-philosopher?
Yeah, they were young. They were 19 years old, combat age.
Did not have a mean bone in his entire body. I could never get close to him, but some strange interaction. I always felt we had much in common. He never talked about his family or
Who's
his
this?
Maxie.
Nasty?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a smart guy, yeah. He had trouble at home. I don't know what it was, but we never talked about it. He was a nice kid, but he was real quiet.
You say ex-student, ex-boxer, ex-philosopher.
Yeah.
He never talked about his family or personal life, but was most accommodating. For a Texan, always reliable and dependable, the most considerate of everyone. Brown was next. Brown was a happy-go-lucky young kid, 18, from the Bronx, with a middle-class upbringing. He did not like school, but he was intelligent. He did not work anywhere and only waited to be drafted. He disliked the Army, but never complained about it. Was quite adaptable and agreeable in every respect. With the exception of Mullenhauer, all were 18 or 19, as I was glad to have them. I left Tuttle as a gunner and selected Mullenhauer as assistant.
Mullenhauer was farm boy, yeah.
He was a good assistant.
Yeah.
With the rest ammo bearers, but with the provision that I would alternate their positions at time to give everyone a chance at firing the weapon in combat. There was much talk of the war ending soon, and we hoped that we would survive these last few months. So it was winding down, but everyone was got their fingers crossed that he'd get hit by a sniper.
Yeah,
because anything's going to happen.
Yeah.
Still a lot of gunfire. Still a lot of death. I thought about my looking after Lape and what a catastrophe that turned out to be. I was hopeful that this would be different and that the war would be over soon. Post came up with a jeep and a trailer and much needed rations, equipment, and ammo. The kitchen followed shortly, and we had our first hot meal in weeks. But all the engineers set up the battalion shower, and we took turns driving it for our first hot shower in several months. So when they set up that portable shower, you didn't have a shower in several months.
Yeah.
So that must have been a great luxury.
It took hose baths.
What?
Sponge baths.
Okay. And that was the last time you had a shower when you're in the Paris hospital. After resting and regrouping for 2 full days, we jumped off again north of Lutrinic-Dortmund. We passed through elements of the 289th and the 290th Infantry and made considerable advance until we ran into a counterattack of infantry and Mark IV tanks. What's the difference between a Mark IV tank and a Mark V tank?
Mark V bigger.
Bigger. Noticeably bigger?
Huh?
Noticeably bigger?
No, it's got more communication inside, got better equipped radios, better armor, better protection.
Good night.
Right.
Good night. Good night.
What time is it?
8.
8?
Yeah, we're home. How many minutes?
10.
10. We only got 10. Let's finish up. This is getting good now. Tuttle and Mullenhauer continue to operate well together, and the rest of the squad adapted to one another rapidly. It was not long before we're all on the same one-unit path. I liked the setup and frankly enjoyed the relationship we had to a considerable extent. No one was or antagonistic, and as the days from the former ASTP and Air Corps were within our ranks. How were the ASTP?
They were Army Specialized Trade. They were from college.
How'd you get along with them?
They were pissed off. They got a sweet job and they had to get down in here.
And why did they get down in them?
Because the Army was short of men.
How about the Air Corps?
Air Corps was good, but they were overflowed, so they took a lot of the Air Corps, put them in the infantry.
And those guys were pissed.
They were pissed off too.
But a lot of people don't know the Air Force, United States Air Force, was not established yet during World War II.
It was the regular Army.
It came afterwards, Army. Maxine was cooperative at all times. It was only in the quiet moments that he would open up slightly. I surmised that he must have been hurt by someone close to him and had much pent-up suppression. From the new division command post, Akron, the attack to the south and southwest was ordered to continue. The 79th Infantry swept into Essen area and was progressing, and the 35th Infantry Division on our right flank was maintaining a sizable bridgehead on the east bank of Suez Canal. Against stubborn resistance, only small gains could be recorded. The 291st Infantry continued its defense, preparing roadblocks and other barriers with the aid of the 275th Engineer Battalion. While we're on the roadblock in the middle of the night, we would start to talk about his parents, especially his mother. I felt that he was antagonistic towards her, but never found out true reasons why he felt that way. He reminded me of my antagonism, and I felt about my mother and how reluctant I was to discuss it with anyone. I certainly did not press him for details and accepted him as a warm and generous person. Brown, on the other hand, kept things going and make all of us feel like we're civilians at times. He was good for our morale. The 1153 Engineering Group placed a floating bridge on the Lippe River northeast of Waltrip and a Bailey Bridge over the Suez Canal at Mogenhagen. We closed in on the 35th Infantry Division in all three sections and the Suez Canal bridgehead at the center of the Cosmic Roll area. The 291st at the Sombrum, Worm, Wilhelm, Lagran, Dreer area. I can tell you one thing, those American engineers, they built bridges quickly.
Yeah.
They were good at what they did.
Yeah.
They were good at what they did.
Under fire too.
Did you have any Navy Seabees there?
Huh?
Any Navy Seabees?
No. Navy? No, it was all strictly Army.
Marines?
No, Army.
Enemy resistance was obviously slacking in one area as we noticed German elements retiring toward Dartmouth. A lot of people don't realize that the Germans during the Battle of Bulge ran out of fuel in such a way it disabled all their tanks and jeeps. But Hitler's plan was, when you get into that Battle of Bulge, they're going to take over the Americans' fuel bases.
Oh yeah.
He's
going to take over Europe.
They're going to take over the American fuel bases, but that didn't happen. What did happen when the Americans lost ground, the American army blew up their fuel bases, so Hitler couldn't get their hands on them. But either way, Hitler was going to be dead, because if he didn't win this Bulge straight out, the United States was ready to drop that A-bomb on them too.
Yeah.
They weren't going to give up. They weren't going to leave that alone. Hitler was going one way or another, and thank God he took the coward's way. He took the coward's way of committing suicide. The 291st Infantry, less one battalion, passing the 290th, left an attack south of 1730s. We attached the E Company during the attack phase, and squad lumbered along trying to stay up with as they got out of the wooded area and reached the outskirts of the town. I'll guarantee you, and those woods that you fought, deep into the ground in many of those woods, if you got yourself a metal detector and you spent a few days, you will find some weapons. You will find some bullets. You will find some knives deep in that earth from World War II. I'll guarantee you that. That's a fact, and that'd be interesting to do. Tunnel and Mulhauler set up the gun at the tree line, and we began to hear some arms fire to our right. They came the slow, mournful screams of the Neubenwaffer shells as they pierced the air. As we still in the wooded area, the squad started to drop to the ground instinctively. I motioned to them to get up and stand beside the tree so they could get more protection from the burst tree standing than they would get from the prone position. So what you had the guys do, you had them stand up directly across the tree, 4 minutes, directly across the tree as a shrapnel is blowing all over hell.
Yeah.
So if they're laying prone on the ground, they were bigger targets.
Yeah.
Did that work? Did that save people's lives?
Yeah, they hugged the tree, yeah.
That saved people's lives?
Yeah.
I was looking all around for some abandoned foxholes, but there were none. I picked a spot beyond the bottom of the draw where the trees were not so dense. I positioned Tuttle and Mullenhaler in a tree and motioned the rest of the squad to take over each side of the gun, but still in a draw. We laid a base of our fire to our right in the direction of a small arms fire, and the Neubenwaffer's barrage was all over, and I could hear E Company moving once again. There was some enemy artillery whistling overhead, but it was intended for targets well to our rear. Oh wow, we got some great news here. We're moving into chapter 16. We're moving into chapter 16. I'm not even going to start on chapter 16. We're going to wait till tomorrow. How many minutes?
Yeah.
So when the war was winding down, was there still many casualties
Oh, yeah.
on both sides?
Yeah.
When did it finally, when the gunfire finally stop?
The what?
When the gunfire finally stop?
The fire?
Yeah, when did the shooting finally stop?
When the Germans cleared out.
And
Oh, they were done.
where'd they go?
They went back to Germany.
And what did they do in Germany?
Trying to hide someplace.
Try to hide?
Yeah.
Many of the SS went to
Some of the
Mexico.
SS, some were just regular army, regular GIs.
So the SS pretended they were regular army.
Yeah.
Many SS were prosecuted during the Nuremberg trial.
Well, if they had witnesses and they had people to see to do it, yeah, they got them.
And most of that was death by hanging.
Yeah.
And just in the paper the other day, a 99-year-old secretary that was a secretary of a concentration camp. She just got prosecuted too. A 99-year-old secretary, and she was just about as evil as the SS were. In fact, what?
1 minute.
Except what happened when your outfit and others opened up the prisoner of war camps and the Jewish concentration camps. You guys went to the office and you noticed that the secretaries had very lush, plush living conditions in these offices, and they're all fat. They're eating like hell.
Yeah.
We call these the secretaries of the SS. We nicknamed them fat fucks. And so what you guys did is you took these secretaries out, the fat fucks, and you took them to where the population of the prisoners of wars were, and you helped them take care of the prisoners of wars. And there were so many dead, they were instructed to drag the bodies of the dead into a big pit. So these secretaries are like monster ladies pushing over 200 pounds, and when the prisoners of wars are down to 60 and 70 pounds, and they didn't even have enough power. To stand on their own. What were you instructed when you seen all the prisoners not to do? What were you instructed when you seen the prisoners of war not to do?
Not to eat.
Why is that?
Well, they didn't have a sufficient diet before that. They were eating very shallowly, so they had to build them up.
I wonder how long that took.
It's probably a couple of weeks.
That was a horrible sight.
10 seconds.
Don't feed them, don't feed them, don't feed them.
That was your orders.
Yeah,
Don't feed them at all.
yeah.
That was a horrible sight.
And it was real.